Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Vacation. I know that's my Aunt Joanne should be on there. Okay, she did.
Welcome to We Got Issues, y'all.
Okay,
A little bit
She
more.
needs to call back in.
Takes a couple minutes longer because we have Olympic
Okay.
commercials happening. Olympics is in our ear. So we're coming soon. We're coming soon. Still on commercial for the Olympics. Another great show. It's going down. Extra commercials for the Olympics.
Good, thank you.
We didn't want to be late going live with y'all, so just hang tight. Live
Yes, sir.
radio. And
Right.
I think here we go. All right. 2 minutes of Olympic commercials. Here we go.
Ooh. Where my girls at? It's going down. It's going down. It's going down. It's going down. We are here. We are here. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. We got issues with the girlfriends, the force of friendship. Sabrina, Katrina, Gloria, and Chrisette. Happy Monday. It's Sabrina Goodwin Monday, your host for today with Monday Motivation. Every day is Monday. It's our most favorite day of the week. Oh my goodness, what a weekend tribe. We hope you missed us because we certainly missed you. So we're glad that you're here. We see that you're logging in from the East Coast, West Coast, points in between. Today we're talking education and our young people. We have two very special guests. You're going to hear about them in just a bit, but we want to check in with Katrina. When I tell you those other girlfriends, where my girls at? They at the beach, y'all. They're at the beach. And when I say where my girls at, my grandmother would always say behind that preposition, because we know at is not supposed to come at the end of the sentence. But where they at? They're in Puerto Vallarta. They're in Cancun, Mexico. They are somewhere warm. But Katrina and I are holding it down today. How are you, Katrina?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm still stuck on the blessing of having a grandmother who could correct your English, okay? Because that's not the experience for all African Americans in the country. Let's just be clear. So that's a blessing. That's the good stock you come from. And today it's a beautiful day here. And I've been cranking, one of those days you feel like you are so accomplished, but it is happy, sad, Sabrina. It's happy, sad. I mean, the Olympic opening, I know you're going to hit on the Olympics before we bring our guest in, but it just makes you feel good. And I feel like I'm holding my breath as the skiers go, as the skaters. Oh my gosh, the couple that fell, both of them that fell yesterday. it's exhilarating. And so I'm just living through each
Well,
and
you know
every
what?
one of
That's
them and
interesting.
watching.
That's interesting, Katrina, because I've been kind of looking at the Olympics with the side eye. Like, should I really be looking at these Olympics with the
Yeah.
way that they're treating our athletes and the way that their government is doing what they do? I'm just a little indifferent with the Winter Olympics and all the politics that are going on. So you're exhilarated. I'm not quite there right now.
And I totally agree. The politics is real and it's ugly, and the way they're using it and the way the athletes are being used and those that have chosen to protest. But each individual, when I saw the snowboard women, I don't know the names of all the things, but when I saw those women and they were all jumping up and down, every woman from all different countries, there are about 8 different countries up there. First of all, I was like, if the women ran the world, this is how it would be. So that part,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
their individual
yeah,
feeling of every
yeah.
single athlete when they are standing behind it and that clock goes go, you can't help but get that feeling of them bringing their personal excellence. One of the skaters last night who was highly acclaimed is from Fremont, the hometown I grew up in. So just that kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I hear
mess,
you.
And
It
notice in
is a
opening
mess.
ceremonies, they didn't have their cell phones. Like I didn't see cell phones and
Right.
taking pictures and all of that. So, and then Sabrina, I
It's
know
different.
we're gonna bring our guests. Yeah, very
Yeah, yeah,
different.
yeah. Let's bring our guests. Let's bring our guest in. Let's bring our special guest in. They are backstage and they are my family members. There they are. Yay. Bring our guest in. Yes, yes, yes. There is my Aunt Joanne, you guys. Oh my goodness, she's accomplished. She's an amazing educator, retired for a long time, but still has her pulse on that classroom. We've got my brother, Greg Goodwin, retired educator, but always goes back. He's principaling right now at a school on some kind of contract situation. He's the busiest retired man that I know. And so we're going to talk. Really, it's a fair. I told my girlfriends, y'all go on. My family, we got it. We got it. I got plenty of guests for the show. And so I'd like to introduce to you guys my Aunt Joanne. She was the first Black teacher in Tulsa public school system, the first African-American teacher, you guys, in Tulsa. She was the first Black teacher to teach white students in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1961. And she was also the first Black female Tulsa school board member in the Tulsa public schools. She has so many accolades. She goes on and on. But you guys, her greatest accolade is this. She is wise. She's witty. She's almost 90 years old and looking that good. Look at that eyeshadow and that blush. Okay, look at my beautiful Aunt Joanne. Look at her, you guys. Look at amazing. Isn't that amazing, Katrina?
Goal poster, amazing. This is my goal poster. This is my goal poster on Joanne. I don't know if you realize, but you have 3 other nieces that are just excited that you're on the show with us today. And hey, brother Greg.
Yes, yes, yes. And then I want to introduce my brother, you guys, my big brother. I followed him to Tennessee State University. He's an incredible educator, first Black head baseball coach at Redan High School in Stone Mountain, Georgia, the home of the Ku Klux Klan. So you talking about turning some things around. He has turned some things around. He was also the youngest and the first Black initiated into Georgia baseball dugout Hall of Fame. I hope I'm saying that right. He will correct me, I'm sure. He's also the founder and CEO of MVP, Mentoring Viable Prospects. He has sent so many, over 500 kids to college on scholarships, and many have been drafted into professional baseball league. So they're just amazing people. They are my relatives. We are family. We were talking yesterday, and I was like, y'all, this is the show right here. Get off this phone because this is the radio show. And so we're so glad to have both of them. Aunt Joe, say hello to the people, and then we'll hear from Greg before we go to our break. Say hello, Aunt Joe. Okay, speak up a little bit, Aunt Joe. We cannot hear you real good.
Okay, Greg, mute your phone. Greg, mute your phone. Greg, mute your phone while Aunt Joe is talking. They're making progress. Okay, Angela, you said we're making progress?
Hey, Sabrina, if your aunt has us on speaker, she would need to take us off speaker. I believe that's where we might be getting the feedback from.
Okay, she's not on speaker. Thank you, audience, for being patient. Greg, make sure Angela has both of her earphones in and she's not on speaker. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Michael, for keeping us together at 10 a.m. The Superstation. We got issues. We got issues, but we are figuring this thing out. Thank you for being here with us Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have Ann Gilford, an educator from way back who still has a pulse on those young people. Let's check your volume now, Aunt Joe. Can you say hello? Talk, Aunt Joe. Okay, yeah. We might share phones, Greg. We might just take the earphone out and let her hold the phone. Let her hold your phone, Greg. Let her hold your phone and talk. Okay, here we go. We're going to get this thing together. Thanks for your patience. Doing a great job. We are talking to the first Black teacher in the Tulsa public school system, my aunt, Ann Gilford. Aunt Josie, you talked about us making progress, but not enough progress.
Not integrated credit. And when they decided to integrate, I had applied for a position not knowing that I would do the search. And it was okay. Angel, we're gonna come right back. We're gonna go to a break, fix this audio. Give us a minute. We'll come right back. Thank you, audience.
issues. Call in at 313-778-7600. We're going to a caller. We are here with the first Black teacher in Tulsa Public School System. I still hear some feedback, Katrina. Where do you think that's coming from?
I think, Greg, do you have it might be coming from the computer. Is the volume on the computer turned all the way down? I know you're muted on, but check the volume on the computer itself. Okay, you don't hear me talking through the computer.
It's better now.
I'm not sure.
Good.
The only other thing it could be is the two phones. Maybe one of them has to hang up.
I think we got it. I think we got it.
Okay,
I think we got it. Okay, I think we have Grace. We have a caller. Grace, are you there? Thank you for being patient. Grace, we have a caller. Are you there?
Hi, thank you. Good evening, ladies, and to your distinguished guest. I'm going to say with your aunt, bless her heart for still having her finger on the button when it comes to education. And then your cousin, I believe, and him going, my brother, yes. Yes, and him going back and for the call of service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to ask your aunt, as you see our children now, and we're going to go at least 2 generations back, where do you see where we went wrong with education? Parents clearly have dropped the ball when it came to education. We clearly just allowed the institution to educate. And they go there, and the teachers are overwhelmed because they feeling they don't need to be doing a lot of what they feel they should be doing, or they're telling them to do. Where do you think the ball was dropped with the family unit? And we're going to go two generations back. If you can share that, and then I have a question for your brother.
Well, the reason things I feel are not significant in as far as change is concerned. We have not made the progress that we should make. They're still separating us from equal opportunities. And until we go back and we put English back in the school, we're not teaching spelling, cursive writing is not in, special subjects are not based on one's abilities. There's no discipline, and there are not parent meetings to inform parents as to how they are to help us. Parents should not be involved in teaching, but they should be involved in social issues such as respect, such as assisting children that have difficulties. Until we do that, we're not really a safe program. And in America, it's suffering everywhere.
I agree.
Case in point, the SAT scores. I never agreed with those because they were designed for failure. And now that they're trying to get rid of them, they're saying that, and they're designed for failure because they kept others, if you didn't pass the test, it eliminated the possibilities of your being able to have an education. So they also could not be provided the opportunity to get monies to go to scholarships to go to school. So if we look at the program and we look at what we're doing, teachers are no longer qualified. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I'm from, the teachers, they're putting in substitute teachers to teach our children because we're not getting the favorable opportunities for teachers to feel like they're making a difference. And everything, the kids should become independent thinkers, but the way they have things now, they are independent learners. Most of what they get is passed to them, not taught to them.
Correct. I agree with you 100%. And very, very well put. Clarity means this, and everybody at home listening to this is going to understand exactly what you just said. And I thank you for that. Now, to your brother, yes, I'm sorry about that. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. You're going back into the school for your call of service. How has the children changed to you? And what would you do in order to get them right on the back on the right track?
It's going to take a long time for us to get back on the right track because these kids haven't been to school in 2 years. So they're behind socially. They're behind emotionally. They're behind educationally. I mean, academically, you can't learn from a computer and a virtual teacher like you can with someone in the classroom. There are so many different ways that our kids learn. So they're going to be behind. But socially, and as far as dealing with one another, and dealing with teamwork and socialism, being together in one room, I mean, these kids don't respect one another. They don't know how to behave around one another without lashing out. And so we have a need for psychologists. We have a need for social workers, not just teachers. But we're asking our teachers to do all these things. And that's why teachers are leaving the classroom. They're not paying them any more money, but they're doing all these other services. So it's changed tremendously. And we don't have enough time this hour to talk about how they've changed.
Yeah. Now, we're getting, and I'm going to be done pretty soon, ladies. Do you understand, too, that some teachers have came to a certain point and it's time for them to go, purging the system of some educators, and they're not just staying there for the job and not for the greater good of the children. Would you agree that you've kind of seen that? And are you going to address that particular issue? When one of the educators, she or he has just came so far, and they're doing the children a disservice being there just for the check and not for the quality service for educating our children.
But it's not just the teacher's fault, because our administrators are asking them to stay longer because we can't replace them with qualified teachers. So they're being asked to do another 2 years, do another 3 years. And they burned out, they've served their time, but again, they're being asked to stay. So they got a caught in the middle.
Understood, but and I get that, and I do hear that, and I do know that. But still, them being there, and they're not going to give that 100% or even that 97%. It does not do the child well if that educator wants to be not. She or he doesn't want to be there. And
I agree wholeheartedly. But what are we going to replace them with? There's a shortage right now. I mean, until we increase that minimum pay for teachers, we're not coming into this field. You know what a person with a math degree makes as opposed to a teacher? You know, I mean, it's incomparable. I mean, they're going to go to that organization and make that money.
And I know, and our children are caught in the middle, and our educators are caught in the middle. I have to be the I have to be the champion for the children first, because they're trying to get their education. Yeah, it is difficult, and I understand the difficulty of it. I really do. We need to figure this out, because our children, we cannot lose them. We cannot leave them behind. It is already an uneven playing field, and it's much worse in the last 2.5 years, and it was worse before. And I'm not in Detroit.
We're on the same page, man. But again, do we change that pay where a kid can leave high school and make more than a teacher with 4 years of education? I mean, it's a tough situation, man.
Yeah, and I thank you. Bless your heart for going back and doing your part. And to your
I'm thinking about turning in my resignation tomorrow.
I'm saying thank you. I'm absolutely saying thank you.
My aunt has something to say. Hold on.
I want to share a thing with you. I retired with 33 years of service, and then I spent almost 30 volunteering. And I've worked with the students who have identity problems, learning disabilities. But I think all children can learn if they are taught. And that's lacking with the teachers. Teaching is a very difficult thing to do. It's a job that a lot of people can't do. It's not just to love the children. It is to teach the children what love is about. And that, the one is first being able to understand what their problem is, not what somebody else has. So I wanted to share this. I was working at a school with after retirement, and with a teacher that thought I made a difference. And one of the mothers came to the school and wanted to know how her son was doing. And the principal brought him down to the room. And his mother was on one side, and I was on the other. And the mother said, I'd like to find out how my son is doing. And so the teacher said, oh, yeah, he's doing very well. He's working with Miss Gilford. And she went on to tell him how many things I'd done under years and years and years
this little boy, 7 years old, and she said, and Miss Gilford said, worked with these students and made the difference and said, she's 85 years old. And the little boy looked at me and he said, Miss Gilford, why aren't you dead? oh. And so embarrassed, and they were trying to say, and I said, it's time. And so in this generation, they don't speak knowing, they speak with authority. They tell you what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. And we haven't dealt with the social issues the way we should. We're making differences with the parents. Parents are saying we're babysitting, and in some instances we are. Because teachers don't plan well. They used to have workshops with teachers so that if things that they didn't know, they could teach them once they've been taught. But not everybody is a good teacher. So we need to look at the selection. It's extremely important. And you also have to get away from who you are and let the children understand we are one. If I can learn, you can. If I can speak, if I can address issues, you can. Parents need to know that don't send their child to school hungry. If you send them hungry, they're going to have problems. But we do have a cafeteria that serves you morning breakfast. But don't complain about the meals. Let the children have an opportunity to be selected. Let parents be selected. We don't have that anymore. They don't have parent conferences. Teachers don't want to stay. And parents want to tell them, you're not doing my child justice. That's all hogwash. We need to stop it. And I was thinking the other day, I was reading the former president lady's book, and she talked about, she used the word, can't think of it now, when woke up. Yeah. And it bothers me. And on the TV, every day somebody's saying something about he was awoken. That's not good English. We don't even teach good English anymore. Kids don't know the difference between past and present. Yes. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. And when you have a president's wife that says we're woken up, come on. So when in my era, which could have been an era, in my teaching and all, I made sure that what I taught they needed, not singing what the hip hoppers do, not but showing that if we have children. A 7-year-old was looking on TV today that has a business. The Bible says that the generation will get smarter and smarter and smarter. We've got some smart kids that are not getting the opportunity they should have. We have some smart teachers that should be paid for services rendered, and they're not doing it. We have people that make a difference. When I was growing up, they called me and said, what do you call it? They go away from black. What does that do for one's ego? Yes, I agree. Now, the way the kids are wearing their hair, back in the day when we used to have those, there was a name for us wearing it. Now that they wear it with pride, there's no pride in a hair do. But you have to look at what's happening. Look at the president who just left. He was illiterate. He had a 4th grade education. I agree for him to do the things that he's done for a lifetime. They gave him money, but it hasn't shut him up. And we're not doing that. We're not shutting up the people that need to be shut up. And if you look at the people who made the sacrifices in this country, they've made big sacrifices, and little progress has been made. When Martin Luther King died, he was 39 years old. And he made an impression and a difference for all of us. But they don't want us to teach it. Boyce, he was the first black to go to Harvard, and they're saying they don't need the history. We don't want to hear about black people. They brought us over. We didn't want to come. But we're here, and the only way we're going to make a difference in education is to say I'm not going to teach these things that are not relevant or not going to make a difference in these students. If they can't transfer this learning, we have kids coming from all over the world, and they speak English, and we can't get our own kids to speak English. Yes, we have dialect, but it should not be laughed at. If you look at the programs on television now, they're absolutely horrible. I agree. They are horrible. We'll come back to that. Grace, you really, really added value to the conversation. You always bring such insight, and thank you for calling and being a regular on We Got Issues. Bernetta, we see you out there. You say there's a shortage because teachers have been disrespected, vilified, and made scapegoats for years. Well, we got to go to a break. We're going to have a little set. All I'm asking. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I ain't gonna in my hand now. And wondering what to have to wear now. I'm taking a little breath for you. Yes. This is the Voice of Friendship. We Got Issues.
And our young people, we are with my Aunt Joanne, who's 89 beautiful years old, years young. When I tell you, she is my source of inspiration. She taught me how to scrub my elbows and be pretty, put my lipstick on. You guys, she is amazing. She really is. She was the first Black teacher in the Tulsa public school system, the first Black teacher to teach white students in 1961 in Tulsa. So many firsts. And then there's my big brother, incredible educator, principal at Redan High, turned that high school around right there in Stone Mountain, Georgia, the home of the Ku Klux Klan. They have a street named after him right in front of the school called Goodwin Way or something like that, but really big. You guys, we got a lot of comments going on. Let me read this one comment that was really good by Jackie Andrews. She says, teachers are now responsible for the social and emotional learning that I learned at home. So many of the children we are working with are the grandchildren of the teen moms from the 90s. They were children raising children, and so they have some gaps in what they were able to pour into their kids, especially the social and emotional piece. The original 3 R's don't leave space for the new R's. It's imperative that we find that space for relationship, repair, and restoration. I want Aunt Joe and Greg to respond to that, but we've got a couple of callers on the line, and we always want to get to our callers. Caller, are you there? Thank you for calling. We got issues.
Yes, I'm right here.
Hi, who's with us tonight? Who is it?
Hello?
John, go ahead.
Hello,
You're live on the air.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to thank the ladies for educating people about the teachers and promote them, and they don't promote themselves enough for me, because it's crazy all the colors that you teach children and anybody in the world, especially teachers and so forth. They practically know how to teach it. And then they children go and they must go and read all night and they tell it. Now, I have a problem with some of these teachers that need what you call going around here offering some bad things, but what the women? What about women? The teachers don't check them. The teachers should be the top by y'all to checking things, but some guy calling you women out their names and all that and so forth. That's y'all. It's so that bad, y'all. If you just go and cheat pants on them, you got to check them before they get started because they just don't know what to do with it and educate enough to understand what they saying. And that's the biggest part about these teachers. They're not checking them when they see bad language and see bad words and bragging words about women and so forth. I mean, you got these fellas coming on TV talking this job and this job. And you think they're people talking and they're chopping them. I don't know. They talking with teachers and so forth. And I can want to show for education.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Thank you. You're right. We're saying a little prayer for our educators.
For the students, it's a tough job out there. We all got to do better. The parents have to do better. The educators have to do better. The students have to do better. To be better, we have to get better. So, John, thank you for calling. We got issues. Callers calling at 313-778-7600. You're listening to 910 AM, the Superstation, the oldest Black talk radio based out of Detroit, Michigan. I think we have another caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
Hello. This is Bernetta.
Hi, Bernetta. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. No, this really hits home for me as a retired special education teacher because in my 32 years of teaching, I've taught every grade from kindergarten to 5th, both special ed and the general ed or so-called normal classroom. And our teachers in the gen ed classrooms are truly actually being asked to do the job of a special ed teacher because in that classroom, the range of students that will be in that classroom without an inclusion program, you have kids that could be a year or two beyond the grade level. And you also have kids that are up to 3 years behind, because children don't become eligible for special education and services until they are literally 3 years behind. And so the one teacher is teaching the entire class, and literally, and now, starting with No Child Left Behind, everything has to be individualized, where you have to teach on all the different levels that the students are on. As a special education teacher, that's what we're trained to do. I mean, I had in my kindergarten class, and this was a regular gen ed class, I had kids that were reading on a second grade level. And I had kids that were literally pre-K that were just finding out what the alphabet is. And because of my training, I was able to bring all four of those levels, forward. But I cannot even imagine. And my class, and that class was only about 22 kids. The average class is anywhere from 27 to 30 plus children now with that one teacher. And with part of this great recession, this grand exit that we're having in the workforce, a lot of teachers are choosing to leave because they're being so disrespected and being micromanaged every step of the way. The amount of paperwork that a gen ed teacher has to do, other than the lesson plans, you only saw that level of paperwork if you were a special ed teacher during the time that I was teaching. But all of the laws that have been changed and more has been demanded of the school, they've demanded of the school that we do many things that truly are the responsibility of the home and the parent. And people have to realize that it is a partnership. Part of what I loved about being in special education is keeping the kids for 3 years, because you got to truly know the children, know the families, and be real support for them. And one of the commenters talked about the children being the kids of the teen moms of the 90s. Well, yes, that is true. I found a lot of my teaching when I was working with the very little ones. It wasn't until I was 15 years in that I had parents that were my age or a little bit older. Up until then, the parents in my classroom, I could have been their mother. Right. And really had to support them. I mean, they would come to me with questions like, I know I need to tell Boo-Boo no about this and this and this. But how do I do it without feeling guilty? I mean, that kind of stuff. And me, a person with no kids of my own, even though I wanted them, I'm the teacher.
Right. Bernetta, thank you so much.
Kind of support.
Yes. Bernetta, thank you so much.
Yeah, so we have to really work with each other.
We do have to work with one another. You brought a couple of really good points up. Basically, what another call
be taught at home, which is not being taught at home, which makes it really tough for the teacher. So much to cover in this brief time. Thank you for calling. We're going to go to our special guest. We've got a minute before we go to break. Greg, you want to address the caller? She talked about that teacher doing the work of a special ed teacher. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Well, we have a whole nother show. we're doing such a disservice to our teachers and our children. The government does a great job with these slogans that we use, like "No Child Left Behind." We left so many children behind. How do you expect a teacher to teach kids in a special ed and general ed? They call it inclusion now. That's crazy to me. Because you're missing some children. I mean, you got a special education teacher in there, but they're not able to teach the regular ed children, and you got several levels of special ed children in that classroom. We're doing a disservice to children and the teachers. That's a whole other show.
Okay, well, we'll have to have you guys back for sure. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to a commercial break. Call in. Let us know your thoughts. 313-778-7600. How are your children faring in the classroom right now? How are your grandchildren doing? We're going to talk about the Gifted and Talented program in the schools right now. We'll be right back. Thank you for calling in.
We're back. Oh my goodness, joy and pain. Like
we know we love our babies. We know we want the best for them. And it brings us such joy when we have good educators like my Aunt Joanne, like my brother Greg. They love those babies. I can go back home and people from way back in the day, your aunt, she was my favorite teacher in the whole wide world. She's brought so much joy in the classroom. Greg's kids, when I tell you I go up to his school, they love Principal Goodwin. And so we know that what you do has brought so much joy in the classroom, but it pains us when the kids are not getting what they need and the teachers are not being paid what they so deserve to be paid. We got another caller, y'all. It's a hot show. These phones are lighting up. Let's go to the phone lines. Jackie, are you there?
Jackie, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Jackie, talk to us. Yes. Thank you for calling.
I absolutely agree with your brother when he says it's going to take us a while to untie this mess. We turned it into something that it was never designed to be. But what we have to figure out is how to fix it, how to change it, how to turn it around. And people are not willing. The teachers that are deceiving people, a lot of them are just not willing to listen to anything different. And, you know, they say, you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep doing what you've been doing. And we've got these teachers that all these social and emotional gaps, learning gaps, but they don't feel like it's their place to have to fix that. Because we learned it at home. I learned it at home. I knew how to act when I got to school. But these kids don't have it. They've got some gaps there, and we have to be willing to fill them. We have to, as educators, if kids don't read, we teach. If they don't know how to add, we teach. If they don't know how to swim, we teach. If they don't know how to behave, we punish them. If they don't have the skill, we have to teach the skill. We cannot punish the skill that we've not taught yet. We have to be willing to go back and teach that skill. Teach them social and emotional skills so they know how to act in a team setting. So they know how to interact with each other. The 2 years of the pandemic certainly didn't help the situation at all. So we have to go back in, and it's a big. It really is. I am a restorative therapist at a high school in Dallas, Texas, and it is a new practice for us. And getting teachers on board, they're looking at me like I'm in there building $10 and singing Kumbaya. And what we're trying to do is establish a relationship with these kids so that they have a place to come and unpack what comes in that backpack every day, all that trauma that comes in that backpack with them every day. There's no place to put anything new in until we help them figure out how to unpack some of the trauma and some of the drama that goes on in their lives outside of school. But people, when they're not willing to do that, there's unrealistic expectations that they're going to be able to fall for us, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to eat tonight or how they're going to take care of their brother and sister tonight. We've got some serious grown people issues that we're not willing to address. And them frustrated, so they're acting out in class, and it's the teacher frustrated, and everybody's just frustrated.
Actually, I love that you guys are there. Yeah, I love, Jackie, that we want to be about solutions. We're looking for solutions. We don't want to just
That's
stay
why
in the
we
problem.
come here every day. We got issues, but we don't want to stay in the issue. Thank you so much for calling, Jackie. Greg or Aunt Joe, would you like to address Jackie? She said, how do we fix it? How do we get ourselves out of this mess that we find ourselves in? Oh, 88. Well, okay. I'm plagiarizing. I'm sorry, Aunt Joe. 88. I didn't tell it. Okay, we're gonna have the biggest party for you when you turn 90. I'm just trying to get close to 90. So 88. 88 people. She's 88. Okay. Aunt Joe, okay. Okay, Anjo, 88 for the record, everybody, 88. Anjo, address Jackie. How do we get ourselves out of this mess?
Help integrate to school. And some of the questions that the kids ask, and some of the parents ask, it was a shock to me, but I didn't let them know it. You know, I took those things as a learning process, because I told them, it's not good for you to use the N word. You know, it hurts. It's not good for you to say that these kids are hungry and nobody cares about them. You can do something about it. You have to organize. Organization is extremely important in success. You can't talk a lot and do nothing.
I love that. I love that. Go ahead, Greg.
Sabrina, it's really not that difficult because the money is there. Every school, particularly in impoverished areas, has a lot of stuff. You get Title IX money every year. And all our closets are full of computers, and we've got a lot of stuff. And what we need a Secretary of Education that understands what's going on. 4 years that Donald Trump was in office, we had a lady that never went to public school. So you have to see, erase our problems. It's not rocket science. I mean, we're doing a disservice to ourselves. We're still doing stuff that we did 60 years ago in our education.
Right.
Three things that I know that we need back in our education system. I call them 3 P's. That's parents. We don't necessarily need paddling, but we need some type of discipline. Because you can't keep bad kids in these schools. And when I was in education, they would tell us, "Well, your thing is a bad child." That's a lie.
You lost your video audio. I don't hear your audio, Greg. What was number 3? What was your number 3, P? Prayer. Wonderful. Actually, Katrina, jump in and ask Aunt Jo your question.
Well, I'm telling you, Aunt Jo, I don't know if there's time for you to answer this question. When you said it takes one person to make a difference, I just want to thank you for being that one person who made a difference for so many. And so many young women out there are wanting to make a difference. And I wanted you to talk about that. I hope you will come back and talk about what it was like to be the first. What did it take for you to be able to be there? And so I know that we're about to end the show, but Sabrina, can we have Aunt Jo back again and have you talk about that?
But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to speak out. I marched. I wanted to be a part of the revolution. And so much. And it's not so much the danger is nothing is being done about it. So we have to eradicate danger. We have to eradicate fear, inequality. There's no such thing as people treated as individuals.
Okay.
It's just
not going to be. Guess what, you guys?
That's the music playing. That means, can you believe the hour is over? We got to go. So that means Greg and Aunt Jo, will you come back? Please, thank you. You're amazing. We'll talk to you soon. We can hear you, Greg.
Bye. See you guys. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow, you guys. We got issues. Force of friendship. Thank you for joining us. Ciao.